Hello there, my name is Daniel Ahmed, and for the past 4 to 5 months I've been working on writing and drawing my very own comic called The Final. The Final is a story I've had around brewing in my mind for a very long time now, and over the course of the year the story has changed quite a bit, but the basic story was made around August 2016. But what is The Final about? Follow Steve Mile, a teenager of a dangerously short temper, and his best friend John, as they join a summer camp called Jackswood. But after a few hours there, it becomes clear that Jackswood is understaffed, and is really only running from the enthusiasm from its founder and camp leader, Mr. Chang. And the more time they spend there, the more it becomes clear that Jackswood isn't just filled with the strangest people on Earth, but also that Jackswood isn't everything it seems. What's in Volume 1? Volume 1 is really a bigger introduction to the bigger story that establishes most of the characters' personalities and the different tones the story dwells, from a jokey fun ride through the activities as well as the darker tone inside the forest. I also think the ending is a perfect way to set up the real action for this bigger narrative.
Всем привет, меня зовут Даниэл Ахмед. Мой комикс «The Final» посвящен моему дедушке Исмаилу Ахмеджанову, который заболел редкой формой рака щитовидной железы. Причиной этой болезни стало радиационное излучение. Когда он был в армии, его отправили строить космодром Байконур, чтобы помочь запустить космический корабль, доставивший Юрия Гагарина в космос. Великие достижения всегда даются большой ценой. В те времена не существовало средств, которые бы защитили его от радиации ракетного топлива, из-за чего у моего дедушки появился рак щитовидной железы, от которого он умер за 3 года до моего рождения. Мне так и не удалось его увидеть. Можно сказать, есть некоторое сходство между историей моего комикса и современными реалиями. Именно поэтому с помощью своего проекта я хочу собрать средства для благотворительных организаций, которые борются с раком, чтобы дать пообщаться как можно дольше со своими родными, которых поразил этот недуг.
How are you, Daniel?
Oh, good. I'm good.
Very good. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
We are very glad to meet you.
Сегодня у нас на площадке «Дети Евразии» необычная встреча. Мы встречаемся с мальчиком, который живет в Лондоне, который рисует комиксы. Я думаю, что этот вид молодежной субкультуры, детской субкультуры очень близок многим детям в разных странах. Поскольку Даниель рисует социальные комиксы, это очень важно в наше время. Мы бы сегодня хотели поговорить и о его творчестве, и о том, как он живет в Лондоне, о том, как вообще живут ровесники наших детей в этой стране. Но для начала я бы хотела, как руководитель проекта «Дети Евразии», предоставить слово Светлане Константиновне Смирновой, нашему главному наставнику, детскому наставнику, человеку, который поддержал проект «Дети Евразии», который уже долгое время помогает нашим детям объединяться и узнавать как можно больше друг о друге на большом евразийском пространстве. Светлана Константиновна.
Добрый вечер, дорогие друзья, уважаемые коллеги. Hello, Daniel. We are very happy to see you today. Мы очень рады, что сегодня мы можем презентовать нашего главного героя Даниеля. И я благодарю, Ольга Николаевна, прежде всего вас, как руководитель проекта, нашего проекта Ассамблеи народов Евразии «Дети Евразии». Для нас очень важно, чтобы дети разных стран общались между собой, находили общие интересы. И, конечно, очень важно, чтобы дети узнавали друг друга, показывали свои способности, учили друг друга. Ну, а мы, взрослые, всегда рядом. Поэтому я думаю, что сегодня у нас будет очень увлекательное путешествие вместе с Даниелем. Даниэль расскажет нам, покажет, почему он стал рисовать комиксы. И, конечно, я сегодня обращаюсь ко всем, кто видит нас в Фейсбуке, обращаюсь ко всем вам, дорогие друзья. Мы будем очень рады нашему сотрудничеству. Если у вас есть какие-то идеи, проекты, и детские, и молодежные, и взрослые, которые можно было бы реализовывать в рамках Ассамблеи народов Евразии, мы будем очень рады нашему сотрудничеству. Ну и, конечно, дети — наше будущее, и, безусловно, мы будем всячески поддерживать все проекты, связанные с детьми. Я благодарю сегодня Марата Ахмеджанова, Евразийскую творческую гильдию, что наше сотрудничество, которое началось уже несколько, может быть, лет, но официально мы там в течение года, а так больше года уже сотрудничаем, что у нас появились и вот такие направления в рамках детского сотрудничества. Поэтому спасибо большое вам, Марат, за то, что вы с нами. И вот благодаря вам мы сегодня имеем возможность познакомиться с Даниелем. Спасибо всем.
Переходим к нашим вопросам. У меня первый вопрос к Даниелю. А как вообще пришла вот эта идея создавать комиксы? Откуда у тебя родилось это желание?
Okay, so I mean, the story of the final is just kind of like a creative story I've had around for, a very long time. It started off just as a little idea, which was a bit more basic, a bit more copied of it, and then I changed it to something kind of my own, unique. And then when I started kind of developing like a love for art, I decided to naturally put the two together, and I had the opportunity, so I took it.
Вы знаете, дорогие гости, вы можете присоединяться и задавать вопросы. Можно в чате, можно напрямую, да?
Daniel, good evening. My name is Kristina Tatarnikova. I'm the head of Department for Youth Cooperation of the Eurasian People's Assembly. And I also have some questions for you. Firstly, I'm really glad to see you here now with us. Thank you very much that you accept our invitation and you joined us. That's a real pleasure for us. And I want to ask you about your artworks. Firstly, about the colors. I see that you use a lot of green and red. And what does it mean to you? Does it have a specific mood, for example?
I mean, the green color just kind of, sets the vibe of like the whole place, because they're in a summer camp that covered in like a forest, and the green mostly reflects the camp and Mr. Chang, who is the camp leader, who's like this, and he's an enthusiast. He's really positive and like uplifting. And then the red, I guess, kind of dwells more on like Steve's side, and Steve Mile is the main character, who at first glance has quite a short temper and can get very angry very easily. But as you get to know him, there's reasons for that, and he isn't so bad. But I guess that's kind of like the contrast, and that Steve and Mr. Chang kind of become friends as well. So.
Okay, and another question. So when you for the first time realize that you want to draw, that you like this kind of art that is very popular, for example, in Japan, yes, and how do you came to this, that it brings you some inspiration, yes, this kind of art?
Yeah, so I came to realize it about like the beginning of like 2020. Because I was starting to learn like a comic style from like books and stuff, but it was more focused around the traditional American, like the Marvel style. But as I looked further into like different sources, I found like manga and things like that. And it's just more kind of expressive. It's more cartoony. It has more like dynamic. It's like more, I guess.
Daniel, and tell us about the storyline that you choose, for example, about characters, okay, and etc.
Okay, so the story is about Steve Mile. He's a teenager in like a normal secondary school, and he gets like this pamphlet, and he gets like an invitation to this brand new summer camp, and it's surprisingly like. It's cheap, but that makes you like it makes you think about it, like why. And so he goes with his friend John, who's already been to plenty of summer camps. He loves learning like the outdoors. they go there, but they soon find out the camp is like understaffed, and Mr. Chang is the only thing kind of running the camp really, because there are two other like camp leaders, but they're not really as into the job as Mr. Chang is. And then they make friends there. There's a whole bunch of different people like Mike, George. But then as their first day comes to a close, they start to suspect that Jackswood isn't just supposed to be a summer camp, but rather something else. And the story goes on.
And who are the prototype?
Prototype?
Yeah, of these characters, maybe your friends, for example, or your parents.
Oh, right, yeah, okay. So a lot of the characters are based off real people. Through various places I've met them. But they're not usually like the main characters. The main characters are usually just I've created them, but like a lot of like the side characters are definitely based off real people that I've met.
Do you have a character that can be the same as you, like in comics? You said that you have characters that like probably the same as people, as real people in real life in your comics. And do you have a character that like the same as you?
Me, not really. I have one that's kind of similar, but no, they're not. I don't base it off myself. No, not really.
And why do you like to make characters that are based on real people, like not the main characters?
Because you need the main characters to be more interesting, not just the ordinary you see. And I just haven't met that kind of specific type of people, especially like Steve, who's kind of, I don't know, a rare person to find, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay.
I feel like if I could, change what I want about him, what I think, like what his flaws should be, it's just, he becomes a better character if I have like full control over it.
Yeah. Thank you.
And what are your future plans in the art sphere? Maybe you want to study art in London or have an exhibition somewhere in the world?
I mean, I'm not sure about an exposition, but I definitely want to carry on doing art and study it for like GCSEs. And for future projects, obviously, I'm doing a short comic kind of work for like this other person, and obviously I'm hopefully is going to do like volume 2 of the final, because volume 1 is just like the beginning. So
and what
Can I ask a question?
Oh yeah, we have a question.
Mm-hmm. Why you decided to create a comic? No a poem or a novel book. Why you decided to create a comics book?
Well, as I said, I've always kind of loved drawing and I've loved stories, so I always drew comics like before the final, and the final's just a story kind of laying in the back of my head. I never intended it to be a comic, but when I started drawing the first chapter of it, I decided I like this, and I decided to carry on, and yeah, volume 1 was created.
What is it? Create.
Could you repeat that, please?
Or maybe if we have the problems with connection, you can write your question.
Book. Okay.
So Zhenya will write her question soon, and we could answer it. And Daniel, we know about you not so much, so please tell us something about you, your hobbies, your family, everything. because our followers are interested.
Right, okay. So, I mean, I'm 12 years old, I live in England, I have a family of 5, it's me, my older brother, who also has done like art projects and things like that, so he's definitely an inspiration. My little sister, who's almost 3, and my mum and dad. My mum and dad like come from like a Eurasian, I guess, background, Uzbekistan specifically. But I was born in England, so yeah. And for the question in the chat, what inspired me to create?
Yeah, I would like the question.
Okay, so what inspired me? I actually don't know, because I've read a lot of like I guess like comic books and like how to do them, and I just really wanted to like share my story, and I think comic is for me the funnest way to do that, and is one of the most expressive ways compared to just writing and things like I guess like a film is a bit far-fetched, especially now, and yeah, I felt like comic was the right media to do the final.
Daniel, can I know your opinion about one specific question? What do you think, like, why adults don't really like comics?
I mean, I don't really think adults have a much different opinion. I just think like it's just when I don't know.
And a little bit about your like artwork. Do you think you have like a potential to be a professional artist?
I mean, to be fair, that isn't like my number 1 job role, but I would definitely try to have that as like a second skill. But yeah, I'm gonna keep practicing, keep trying new things, learn different styles and stuff, and hopefully I can.
Is there a person who helps you with your comics?
I mean, definitely my older brother, who has like helped me use his computer for like typing the text. He's given me a few inspiration, but with actually like creating the story and drawing, not really. Just that's all me.
Okay. And like, I think my last question: how does your usual day go? What do you do? What do you?
I mean, I wake up at like 6:30. I go to school. I come back. So what I do in my free time, I either work on like one of my projects, because I like being busy with something.
Mm-hmm.
So either that being the final or something I'm working on now, like an animation usually takes much longer. So I do that like in the background, like in early mornings and stuff. And yeah, I guess yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and we've got one question
in the chat
from Zhenya. In the
chat.
What
are the components of a good comic? Okay, so I mean, obviously you need the component of a good story, so relatable characters, but not too good. They have to have flaws. And Steve Mile is definitely like on the edge of that. Because some people won't like him. It's just, if you get to know him, definitely. I feel like, yeah. He's definitely not a perfect person. And comic-wise, I feel like you need to do pacing well. You have to explain the story well, so keep like character designs consistent, and definitely like paneling, which I guess goes in with pacing. Like you have to understand how people read like each size of panels, and yeah, and make sure, just like any story, like a certain bit doesn't drag on for too long.
So now it was the second video, and I have some comments.
I think there was one more question in the chat. So it says, do you have any desires like to learn some new skills? So my main desire is to like go into like acting or voice acting, and any skills I want to learn is I want to like learn how to sing better, because I think that would help me in like the world of acting and like performing arts. So probably that. And probably painting as well. I want to practice on painting as well. So yeah.
If you started talking about like a singing, what is your favorite band or genre of music?
Okay, so my favorite genre of music would have to be like alternative rock, and my favorite band is 21 Pilots.
That's cool. I like them too. They're so cool.
And now on the internet and in social networks, there are many groups which are named like Art or Not. And I want to ask you, what do you feel? What is art and what is not art? And comics, are they art?
I mean, my opinion, art is just a way of expressing. It doesn't have to be a drawing. Art is, say, a song, say a film, say anything. Art is just expressing either a story, a feeling, an emotion, and comic definitely falls into that category. Yeah, art is just expressing.
And should art be expressing a positive style? Or maybe there are also some negative emotions? Because artist is responsible for the image that he has, and what should be the main like mood of his works?
I mean, I guess that's kind of like the beauty of it. It's whatever the artist feels, but obviously he should be aware of like the impact it could have, either politically or emotionally. But art is just whatever he wants to do. You have like control over it. It's art. Whether or not he decides to take a positive route or not is really up to the artist.
And who are your favorite artists or celebrities?
I don't think I have any favorite artists. Or celebrities, to be fair. Oh no, actually,
and
wait. No.
Who?
Wait, never mind.
And so then, who inspires you?
I mean, as I said, the person who inspires me the most is definitely my older brother. But there's also like a few mangakas, like manga artists, who definitely inspire me. And there's also this one who does like manga style, but like in English, in like a magazine, who I also kind of like follow, I guess, quite well. And yeah, just people in like the internet and people who do similar stuff as me.
Do you think that the internet has a huge influence on artists of modern days?
Definitely. Because a lot of artists now are like either like looking on like tutorials or just little like tricks to like make the thing better. And because the amount of time people spend on social media now, it definitely will affect their emotion. And as I've said, art is just channeling that like emotion and expressing it. So if you had a bad day, your drawing will kind of show that, not to an extreme extent, like the person's not going to be crying on the picture, but you'll be able to like tell. And I have the question on the chat: who's my favorite superhero from our comic universe? I mean, this is a bit generic, but it depends what you mean. Like, character-wise, they're not all like that good. They're a bit generic, they're too perfect, but I just like the one I used to like as like a younger kid was definitely like Spider-Man. I just think like the whole superhero comic thing is a bit overrated now, and I guess story-wise they're a bit confusing because they either have a super long story or no story. It's just like a single like episode. Something happens, it gets resolved, and everything's back to normal. So yeah.
And Daniel, what countries do you have friends in?
I mean, I have friends in the UK. I have friends from a few places. I have friends from Thailand. I have friends from like America. Friends.
Yeah, it's great to have friends everywhere, especially in Eurasia. And now, of course, it's very pity that we can't travel and meet each other. but I hope someday we will meet, and someday you will come to the Eurasian Assembly and could participate in real life in our meetings. And we've got another question from our followers. So who did you show the comics to first?
Oh, I mean, first, I don't remember, like, because as I said, I drew chapter 1 first without, I guess, considering this would be such a bit of a, like, a project. That's probably why you'll notice chapter 1 doesn't look as good as the other chapters. I fixed a few panels that didn't look as good. I think the first person I showed it to was probably my brother. And yeah, and then I showed it to like my mom and dad.
And how did your brother react to this?
I mean, he's seen me, I guess, develop my art. I have very early art. He's just been on this journey with me. And he was proud I did something that was like, not just like, I finished something in a way. I did something bigger. Because usually I would either try to do something big and then give up. Because I had like, no, I guess, nothing like pushing me. Or I would just do very small things that just weren't really worth anything when you think about it. Like drawing the same character like over and over again. And it doesn't really do much, but now that I've done something different, I really like them.
Okay. And also, how many followers or fans do you have?
Oh, I mean, on like Instagram, I have 40 followers, but I hope I just attract people who like this sort of story once volume 1 is out. So then by the time like I start working on volume 2, people who like it will be ready for like the real action. Because let's just say a lot of big stuff happens in volume 2. Like it changes the tables, new characters that are introduced, a lot of stuff happens.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, Daniel, you really inspire us, and I guess you inspire our youth team, our friends who live in different countries, and maybe you can give them an advice.
So my advice would be like, don't try to rush it. First of all, don't just like have a picture in your mind. Have like think about how you're going to do it, when you're going to do it, if you have time to do it, and just slowly progress through it. And don't spend like all your time on it unless you're 100% sure you want to do this. If it's just like a beginning project, I would do it on the side so you don't get sick of it. Because if you try to do too many, like I guess, because I tried to sketch like a lot of pages and then work on them gradually like at once, and it really makes you kind of like, I want to draw something else, I don't want to do the thing. But this applies to anything that isn't just drawing, to be anything. So I just don't spend like one section on a bit for too long. I just slowly progress through it until you've finished it, and make sure you've refined everything as well at the end. So, and I think there's a question in the chat. How long did it take you to book? So how long? So chapter 1, which I did earlier, was I think done in like May-ish, and then for the whole of like first wave quarantine, so I did that all, and then that was like 4 months to do it for like 86 pages. So yeah, I tried to do like a page a day or a page or 2 a day, because I felt like if I spent too much time on it, I would like, give up. But obviously you have to find a balance between rushing and spending too much time. And what kind of messages or morals did you hide in it? Well, there's definitely a lot of hints, and like I guess, so definitely a lot of hints to like the future stories. And I guess there isn't really a moral now, but I feel there definitely is, like once the story wraps up and stuff. Just there's a lot of hints of what's to come, but not too many that you won't be able to guess.
And now I want to address to the participants of our meeting and to people who now watch our broadcast in social networks, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. Dear friends, do you have any questions? Do you want to ask Daniel something? So if we don't have any questions now, we can end our meeting. And I want to thank you, Daniel, again for this interesting conversation. And I want to tell you many words to thank you. We want to see you in Moscow. You are a smart, talented young boy. And we hope that your artworks will be
If you want to ask something, you can go ahead. You can like type in the chat. Or...
Yeah, Zhenya, can you hear us?
Do you have advice for any young creators of comics? Okay. So first of all, don't be brought down to your like. Just remember, you will keep improving. So you have to. You wouldn't have peaked yet as your youngest stage, but if you're doing something that progresses like through your life, like as I'm doing, like a long story, then it's good to start early so you can have like in habits and you can understand it. So if you ever decide to start it when you're older, you'll understand like that's what you're doing. Any advice? Oh, I just don't give up and try to make it obviously your best work. And yeah, I just on the comic side, I just focus on like when it comes to like the art, I give advice for dynamic posing, emotions, perspective, and proportions. Meaning, so dynamic poses, so everything looks like they're moving, even though it's in a still frame, which is one of like I guess the confines of a comic. Also, definitely to I guess make sure they're expressive, so you can understand just from I guess watching the pictures and reading the text. Yeah, just pacing and paneling. So.
Ты настолько светлый, хороший человек, замечательный парень. Вот прям я смотрю на тебя, ну вот такой вот родной для нас. Несмотря на то, что ты живешь в другой стране, но у меня ощущение, что ты мальчик из нашего класса, вот где-то прям с нашими ребятами. Я очень хочу, чтобы друзей у тебя было больше, чтобы ты с нами дружил, и пусть у тебя все в жизни будет хорошо. Оставайся с нами. Спасибо тебе большое за встречу. Не переставай рисовать, не переставай творить. Ты совершенно потрясающий парень.
Thank you very much. So what is my favorite book for now? I mean, this is just a normal book. I'm a big fan of Michael Morpurgo and his books like Tensuke's Kingdom. And there's also another book, which is unrelated. It's called The Silver Sword. Because I'm very into like World War II books. I'm not really sure why. Because I know a lot about the subject and they're just really fun to read. So, yeah.
So, Daniel, Eurasia Kids and Eurasian Youth Assembly are very glad to meet you. And as Olga Nikolaevna said, we hope to meet you again soon, so you can participate in our projects, in our meetings, you can share your experience with other kids, with our youth team. And remember that we are always welcome to meet you, to see you, and you can always contact us on any question or matter.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Welcome to our family. Very big Eurasian family.
Yeah, so now it's time to finish our meeting.